Hey, what's going on YouTube? Alabama Reloader here. So coming to you today, and I really need to start off this video by letting you know that this is going to be way shorter than what I had originally planned. And the reason for that is I've already filmed everything. It was multiple segments, a couple of different days at the range. I did a video portion showing everything that I take to the range. I mean, this whole big production, right? I put a lot of time and effort into this portion of the series, explaining everything I'm doing at the range, my thought process, how I'm going to be doing a barrel break-in on this 110 Trail Hunter chambered in 30-06, and how doing a barrel break-in process is essentially the same as voting Democrat. It's practically useless, but for some reason people do it anyway. That's how we were approaching this barrel break-in process. I go through the whole deal, right? Shot the second half of the factory ammunition. I shot 10 shots on the first range trip, shot the second 10 shots today, get back home, edit everything together, and I go to upload from the editing, I guess the app that I use to piece all of this stuff together. I don't really edit my videos, I just combine the segments. Well, when I went to save that to my phone to then upload it to YouTube, I didn't have enough space on my phone. So then I went through and deleted some stuff off my phone, and I made sure things were backed up in Google Photos first, right? Well, apparently, I don't know, the video files can't be found anywhere. And then when I go to the app, because I've got the finished video and I can actually watch it on the app, but it will not let me save it or upload it to YouTube because the original video files no longer exist on my phone. They've been deleted, and I can't find them, can't get them back. So multiple days worth of work and editing, and not necessarily editing. I don't edit my videos, but you know what I'm saying. Multiple days worth of filming and going to the range and talking through everything and piecing it all together, all for naught. So you're going to get the expedited, condensed version. You've already seen the introduction and part one of this series with the Savage 110 Trail Hunter chambered in 30-06 Springfield. I'm basically gearing this towards getting prepped for hunting season, specifically gun season, obviously, whatever that may look like for you. And I took the approach or the mindset of, hey, possibly somebody that's going to go out, buy themselves a brand new gun, and I walk you through things that you need to do once you get that firearm in your possession. I just kind of walk through, this is what I would do if I were to go get a brand new gun and get ready for hunting season, right? That's the approach that I'm taking. So at the range, what I did somewhat of a modified barrel break-in process, and I was following the Howa barrel break-in process. Now, they recommend a 30-shot overall break-in, and the way they do it is you shoot 10 shots. So you basically shoot one, and then you clean, one and clean, one and clean. You do that for 10 shots. You repeat that process for 10. Waiting 5 minutes in between each shot, okay? They make that point very clear that the barrel needs to be completely cold, or cool, right? Ambient temperature while you're doing all of this. You don't want it to heat up. So I did that with these first 10 shots, all right? Here are my 10. Don't, ignore a lot of this other stuff. A lot of this stuff is just garbage, 243 Winchester stuff that's just awful. But these are the 10 shots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The 10th one way over here somewhere. But so there's our 10. You can kind of see that, right? Point of aim there. I did a bore sight on the gun at 100 yards, right? So that's actually not bad. I was, 5 inches low, 2 inches to the right, basically, for those 9 shots. Not too bad of a bore sight job. From there, I did, on the first 10, I did it exactly like Howa recommends. I shot once, and then I cleaned, shot once, cleaned. I did that for 10 shots. Ran out of time at the range. I don't have hours and hours and hours that I can spend at the range, so ended up having to to wait. I had to go out of town for work, so I waited till I got back. Just finished up shooting the second round of 10 shots using the Federal Power Shock 180 grain factory ammunition. And so came back, I actually made a scope adjustment. Remember, we were hitting low and to the right, 5 inches low, 2 inches left. So I made that exact scope adjustment, 5 inches up, 2 inches left, and shots 11 and 12. That's those two. Now, I will say the Howa break-in process, once you do the first 10, they recommend doing 20 shots where you shoot 2 and then clean, 2 and clean, 2 and clean. You do that 10 times, which equals 20 shots, and for a total of 30. Then the barrel's broken in and you're good to go. Well, I modified it, even though in the earlier version of this video, that you'll never see, I talked about how I was going to follow the Howa break-in process, but I was going to modify it to only have 20 shots, since that's all I had in the factory ammunition. But I modified it even more, where I shot the 2, so I shot 11 and 12, I cleaned the barrel, and then I came back and I shot 13, 14, and 15. So I did a 3-shot group, I cleaned it, then I circled back. And of course, I'm waiting the appropriate time in between all these shots and all these groups. I had plenty of time today to let the barrel cool down, all that fun stuff. And I ended up shooting this 5-shot group. These were the last 5 shots that I had for the factory ammo: 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 5 shots, 1.428 inches is what that 5-shot group measured. Velocity, we were at 2807.2. SD 20.5. Now, I will say I measured velocity on all of these shots, on all 20, and the velocity average for all 20 is 2801. So we're 2,800 feet per second. The SD is 15, which is really good. Extreme spread was like 59 maybe, I can't remember. But SD of 15 on factory ammunition is actually pretty good. So, and on top of that, the box velocity that Federal had listed at the muzzle was 2,700 feet per second. We're 100 feet per second faster than what Federal said we should be at. So, 2 thumbs way up on that. Now, you can look at this a couple of different ways. Again, I'm gearing this towards people that maybe they want to go out and get them a brand new gun. Maybe it's the first time they're ever going to go gun hunting, so they go and get a brand new gun. If you're never going to be a hand loader or reload, load your own ammunition, if you only want to shoot factory ammunition, I would highly recommend you do some version of what I just talked about with the cheapest box of factory ammunition that has brass casings, right? You won't want to go get stuff that has brass casings just to keep them in the future. You might get into reloading, that'll come in handy, but go buy the cheapest box of factory ammunition that you can buy for that cartridge. Go and do some variation of a break-in process, really and truly, to try to establish, to break the barrel in, but then try to establish a baseline level of understanding in terms of the potential performance that you could be getting from that system overall, right? 1.4 inches is more than adequate to kill anything that I'm shooting at here in Alabama. At the distances that I'm hunting and shooting. Oh, and I did make another scope adjustment up. I talked about how I made that adjustment from down here up and over. I made a 2 MOA up shift. That way, I just didn't want this 5-shot group to be on top of all this, so I just moved it up 2 inches. But what you want to do with that first 20 rounds, breaking in the barrel, kind of taking your time, seeing how that rifle system's responding to that particular brand of factory ammunition. And then on top of that, while you're at it, buying the factory ammunition, you need to really pick up 3, 4, 5 different types and brands of premium hunting ammunition, if that's what your goal is, to hunt with that setup. Because when you're shooting factory ammunition, the performance could vary wildly. and you really need to try to get a good understanding of how that system is going to respond to the different types of factory ammunition that's available. And that's kind of the downside of only shooting factory ammunition, is you're having to buy these multiple different types just to see if your gun will actually like it or not. Now, on the flip side of that, of course, in hand loading, well, yeah, I'm loading up a bunch of different bullets and, you know, powder combinations to see what'll shoot good in the rifle as well. But your ability to modify variables, tweak things as a hand loader, you have greater flexibility in doing that than you do with, well, let me just go buy another box of factory ammunition that's a different brand and bullet type and see if that shoots good. And then if it doesn't shoot good, now you've just got a bunch of ammo that's sitting around that you're not really planning on using. So, you know, you just need to be aware of that and be mindful of that, right? So overall, it was a extremely successful barrel break-in / range trip session. I'm extremely upset that you guys won't see the actual video that I had filmed for this. It was just like the part one. It was like 37 minutes long. I had it broken up into like 4 different segments. I showed you piece by piece exactly what I take to the range to do this type of work, the cleaning, everything that was involved. I go through the whole process, but I'm not going to tear everything back out and go back over it in detail and refilm everything just to try to re-upload the exact same video. I ain't doing that. So this is what you guys get. Here's the first 20 shots. Really good stuff. Again, really pleased with how this stuff performed, both velocity wise, and this is showing me that we have some potential here, right? There's definitely room for improvement, and I think this is going to be a good shooter with our hand loads. So now I just have to transition over to let's see what we have here. Got a bag of Starline brass, brand new 30-06 Starline brass, and then from there it's going to be, you know, what of our 30 cal bullet options, and I got a mountain of gold dots, but what in 30 cal, I got some Barnes up there, 175 LRXs, and then some core locks. I've got all kind of stuff for 30 cal. So which bullet are we going to test first? I've got a ton of options, so definitely going to test multiple options, but I do want to continue to bring you guys along and just sort of follow this as a series into, okay, went to the range, now what, right? So, you know, that's kind of, it takes multiple range trips for you to really dial in your system, get your scope zeroed, make sure it's going to hit exactly where you want it to hit every time you go out into the field. Go back, clean your gun really thoroughly, come back out, shoot it again with what shoots really well, see if you have a point of impact shift that's going to be detrimental to the performance of the system itself, right? If you come in and clean your gun, because I've gotten in the habit where I'm cleaning my rifles every time I get back from the range. I don't scrub them down to bare metal, but I'm getting in the habit of cleaning them pretty good every time I get back, and that's something that I didn't really do in the past. But now I want to go back out and verify, once I do that, am I going to see any type of drastic point of impact shift when I go back out to the range, right? Hopefully not. That's the hope. So that's it. That's where we're going to leave it. Much shorter video than what you guys were originally going to see. It is frustrating. I'm frustrated by it, but oh well, it is what it is. So this is part 2. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I hope you've enjoyed following along, especially in part 1, where I really kind of dive into some of the details about, you know, the process that I follow and things that I think about and look for and look at before I ever even go to the range. I think it's super critical that you pay attention to those things. You know, every time you get a new gun, even if you've had, like I said in the video, a rifle that you've had for 20 years and you hunt with it every year, it's good to go through that process step by step just to make sure your system is 100% squared away and you've got supreme confidence going into the season. So hope you guys have enjoyed it. Y'all continue to follow along. Like I said, now we're transitioning over into hand loading. We're going to be using Starline brass, probably Federal or CCI large rifle primers. I just came into a whole bunch of those things. So good to go on large rifle primers. And then now I've got to decide what bullet powder combinations I want to test right off the bat. And it'd probably be a pretty wide net. I'm thinking we're going to cast a very wide net of bullet types, and then also powders. Now, what I might do is off the bat, I might just test a bunch of more traditionally style constructed bullets all at once, and then that way I can come back, scrub the rifle down, scrub the barrel down to bare metal again, and then go back and test solid copper, right? I can go back and test those separately. That's something that you need to watch out for if you're buying factory ammunition and you're buying maybe some solid copper bullets to test and some traditional cup and core style bullets. That's everyone's new favorite thing to comment about. And, you know, when you switch bullet types, that could cause, you know, accuracy or precision degradation, which is true. It's been shown. People have shown it on YouTube. Ron Spomer, those guys, Backfire TV, all those guys have shown that that is a legitimate concern and something you need to take into account. Do I think it happens every single time with every rifle? No, I do not. But it is something to be aware of. So if you're making those changes and your performance is not that great, don't chalk it up to, well, my gun just doesn't like that particular bullet powder combination. That might not be the case. Really, you want to try to start over with the cleanest barrel you could possibly start with for that particular bullet type, you know, material type, and then do all of your testing. So, all right, that's it. That's where we're going to leave it. We're done. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. We'll catch you next time. Y'all have a good one.